Major changes heading east as we're talking about the first widespread frost and freeze, even snow for some. Hi, everybody. I'm meteorologist Chris Justus. I hope you appreciate this channel. Early warnings of severe weather, reliable forecasts you can count on, and a direct approach you won't find anywhere else. Please consider subscribing if you don't already. And in this case, we're talking about a major cool down, the first of the season coming across all parts of the country. We've been so warm lately. It's felt a little bit more like late August, early September, with 80s stretching across a large part of the East Coast. But look what happens as we go into the weekend. Temperatures will change from 5 or 6 degrees above normal to about 15 degrees below normal. Let me show you how we get there because it's going to take a while, but here it is, that harsh contrast of temperatures as we move throughout the day. Look at this. I mean, we're talking about severe weather and storms in Texas and then snow just miles away up toward the Rockies. I mean, we're talking about major changes coming in. I love this time of the year, but it's also a severe time of the year for some. In fact, we really can't get away with changing the pattern from hot to cold without getting storms somewhere. You get that big contrast of warm and cold air, and here we are in Texas through Oklahoma. Major changes coming in as far as severe weather concerns, wind and hail, as well as the potential of tornadoes here across Texas into Oklahoma into Kansas as we have the potential of that twisting and turning wind. As this system moves through, it's going to really create quite a bit of rain for some. Heavy rain back through Texas, Louisiana, and those areas need the rain with the wildfires and the drought. But as we move forward, notice as we get toward Friday night football games, you've got date night for Friday. It's not looking like a lot of rain as it goes east toward the Appalachian Mountains. The mountains break a lot of it up, and it's a fast-moving cold front. Therefore, it doesn't have an opportunity to grab a lot of moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. So it's more of a dry front as it moves through, and the winds just shift. So Friday night, going into Saturday, you're going to wake up to a much different kind of day. As far as rainfall totals are concerned, we could get some spotty rain in the mountains of North Carolina stretching back through Tennessee, but it's drops in the bucket. 0.2 of an inch, 1/2 an inch back through the Mississippi, and greater rain back here to the areas that need it in Texas and Louisiana. But for a lot of us, this is not going to be a big rainmaker. It will be a temperature changer. Notice how as we go into Friday, it's still going to be toasty, very warm for Florida and to Georgia and the Carolinas. We're talking low to mid 80s, stretching back through Alabama, parts of Mississippi. It's going to be toasty. Hey, let me know where you're watching from in the comments section. I love going back and just seeing where people are watching from right now. It really is a blessing to do what I do and be able to communicate to so many. And what a fun topic to be talking about as we're talking about a much bigger cool down coming our way than we've seen so far this year. Here we are on Saturday. Check it out. While so many are so warm, like Charleston, Savannah, Myrtle Beach near 80 degrees, the upstate of South Carolina through the mountains are in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. That comes our way by Saturday evening. In fact, as you're going to bed, 8, 9, 10 o'clock, we're talking about temperatures really plummeting. It's one of the situations where you maybe go to dinner and you step out and it goes from cool to cold or comfortable to chilly. One of those situations where you'll feel the difference, especially Saturday afternoon and evening. You're like, wait a minute, it's chilly for the first time. And going into Sunday morning, I think this is the first widespread frost and freeze for many. Freezing temperatures and elevations above 4,000 feet in the mountains, back through East Tennessee. If you don't see a freeze, you're likely to see a frost as temperatures will be cold enough that right there at the surface we'll get a frost. That will really do wonders to the ragweed, the pests, the mosquitoes. It's really going to change things around to where going into the latter half of October, we're kind of getting into our seasonal pattern here of those cold fronts getting a little more potent as they move through. And here we are Sunday afternoon at the hottest part of the day. We're in the mid to upper 60s across the upstate of South Carolina. It's now 72 in Charleston. Orlando's at 77. Wow. From near 87, 88 to 77 in Central Florida, all within 24 hours. We'll take it, right? And the hottest part of the day for Asheville, 58. Boone, North Carolina, if you're going to check out some leaves, 49 or 50 for a high. Wow, major changes coming in. The first big cool down, the first pronounced cool down that we've had. In fact, Monday morning could be another opportunity for frost or freezing conditions. As the air mass begins to moderate, it won't be quite as cool going into Monday afternoon. We're back to the 70s, and if you wanted this cool down to last, it does not for many. We're back to the 80s by Tuesday, Wednesday's time frame. But the snowpack is at least beginning to take shape, and for those of you that have checked out my winter forecast, I'm expecting an epic winter ahead. One of the first steps to doing that is to getting and establishing a big snowpack back through Canada into the Rockies, and that's already occurring. Imagine carrying groceries. If you have it on ice, it's going to last a lot longer. It's going to travel a lot farther. Same story with air masses. If it's traveling over snowpack, it's going to keep its integrity. It's going to keep its cool forecast with you, and it's really going to make a big difference. But does this last? It does not. The oscillations don't really offer anything off the charts. We're kind of turning -1, -2 on my North Atlantic oscillation, and that tells me we're getting a cool down here. Looks like we go back to +1 or so. So for the East Coast, that would favor a ridge. That would favor warmer temperatures. But beyond that, getting into the second half of October, it looks like we level out a little bit, which means we're near normal in the temperature department versus big extremes as far as hot or cold. So how about the leaves? Yeah, we're seeing that begin to change. Let's take you from right now to next week. So we've already got spotty color showing up in the Carolinas, but stretching up through Pennsylvania, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, into Maine. It's one of those situations where it's really beginning to change, really beginning to pop, and that looks to be the case as we move forward here, as the color between this weekend and next weekend, because of the colder air and just the time of the year, really beginning to pop. Entering peak season in Asheville, Boone, higher elevations like Mount Mitchell, but that color spreading into the Carolinas, like the Greenville area, Charlotte, Atlanta, beginning to see some color. So you'll really start to see that pop. It's just not really going to feel very cool. So beyond this cool down that we have this weekend, looks like we get back to near normal going into next week. And then the third week of October, this would be through the 18th to 21st. We're talking about near normal temperatures for the east, a big warm up in the west. And then week 3 would favor equal chances. So that'd be temperatures there in the 70s, not as many 60s for highs. And it looks like that's going to be the case for a little while here as we begin to moderate temperatures back out. If you remember my forecast for October overall, forecasting an above average temperature forecast and a below average rain forecast, that looks to be coming to fruition with the exception of this major cool down that we're getting for about 3 days. First killing frost and freeze. And that's what happens this time of the year is you get these cool fronts to come through and they begin to get a little more potent, and especially going into November, we'll see that take shape. Folks, again, if you don't subscribe to my channel, I'd really appreciate it if you consider doing so. I love what I do. It's a blessing to do what I do every day on television. I'm a chief meteorologist, and here I'm able to get on here and just kind of nerd out, talk to you about my passion, and that's weather. And my passion on top of that is keeping you safe when it comes to severe weather, whether it be snowstorms, hurricanes, tornadoes. I love what I do. And if you will, please, if you haven't already, let me know where you're watching in the comment section there below. It helps me know where you're watching from. And hey, I'll tailor the next forecast to where you are watching. Hope you guys have a good day, and we'll talk soon.